Alright, so we're going to be looking at fiber mesh and building hair inside of ZBrush and how that actually works. So you can see I have this face here, and you're going to be actually tasked with creating hairstyle for a person, and you can use whatever face you want to, whatever head you want, as well as I'm going to show you how it works on the dog as well, so you can see that. But for instance, we're just going to go ahead and start messing around with this. It's pretty fun and it's pretty simple to do. So the first thing we're going to do is you mask out the area you want there to be hair on. So let's say for instance we want to do like kind of a beard on this guy. So I'm going to go ahead and hold control. Come down. So you can see that it's decent. There we go. And again, the higher the polygon, the smoother that mask will be. But there we go. So we've got that drawn on there. And now what we can do is we can come over to our fiber mesh option here, fiber mesh, and we're going to click on preview. So when you hit preview, it's going to immediately throw all the hair on him. So there it is. It's right there. It's kind of long, and we're going to go over all the different options that we get to control here in just a second. So you can see his hair is kind of sticking out, and there it is right there. So we're going to look at our options here. So we have max fibers, that's how many there are. So I'm going to go ahead and double that. So now there's 100. And then we have our length profile for how much the fiber length is relative to the mesh size. And then length variation, so we can have 0 for that. So that way they kind of are all the same size, just based off of where they are on the mesh. I'll go ahead and make my length, we'll make it 250, so it's a little bit longer. There we go. So you can see it's all based off of where it is on the mesh, so the closer it is to the more pushed out the mesh is, you're going to see it look like it's a little bit further, etc. So then what we can do is we have gravity here. So I'm going to go ahead and on gravity, I'm going to change that to like 0.6 and hit enter. So you're going to see it fall a little bit. So we can do like a full value of 1. And there's our gravity. So now it's actually falling. But what's important to realize about gravity is it's based on your camera. So if I do it like this and hit gravity of 1 and hit enter, we'll do like 0.9 and hit enter. It now has it pointing forward. So you have to make sure you always have the camera where you want it, or you have the character facing where you want it when you do the gravity. Otherwise, it's going to make it kind of weird like that. Okay, so that kind of gives that to us, and then we have a couple different options here. We can increase our clump value, and this is kind of a weird value. So if I hit 1, it actually clumps them together. So you can see them, they're clumped together now. Which, depending on what type of hair you want to do, you might like that. So we can, of course, like increase that to 5. Actually, it just goes to 0 and 1 now. Okay. So, and there's 0, so it goes back to normal. And then we have our segments, which is how many segments are in the fibers, which is allowing them to bend and turn. So you could like double that to 6, and you notice that it actually gets a little bit smoother, and that's just because it's allowed to turn a little bit more. And then we have our scale root and our scale tip. So this is how they come down into a tip and how wide they are at the base. Obviously, so you could like kind of change that to make them the same, either uniform 0.75, 0.75, etc. And then we have like our twist values, which is just how much they're twisting. Like 18 really isn't anything, and 0 just makes them flat. So now they're just sitting there flat, kind of like we would want. Okay, now what we want to look at here is we can actually change our colors. So if I come in here to the tip and I click on tip, I can go, you know what, I want him to have kind of like a reddish hair, dark red. And then I can go to the base and we can match that. you could have like the base be totally crazy and have them as different colors, very different colors. Right there. So there you go. So overall, it's fairly simple to do this. Now, once you have the fiber mesh like you want it, so once you have it picked where you want, let me get rid of these garish colors. This just looks like someone who's trying to get attention with a blue beard. There we go. That's close. That's fine. Okay. So once you have it like you want it, what we can do is we can then just go ahead and click on accept. And yes, you would like fast preview turned on. Okay. So now we have that locked in. So there is our fiber mesh beard. So I'm going to hold control and drag to get rid of that mask. Now, if you look at the subtool, you now have a new subtool for the beard. So I can click on the beard, and then I can actually choose some brushes that are just specifically for it. So we have groom hair, groom color, groom clumps, groom brush, groom blower. So these are all kind of in there. Groom spike, groom spin knot, groom lengthen, groom hair short. So we can kind of just do that, and we can push our hair a little bit down. Again, with a Wacom, it's a little bit easier. Back a little bit before I messed on. I'm just going to use, oops, just going to use smooth a little bit. Yeah, that's fine. Kind of bring that down. Same one down here. Oh, I didn't have symmetry turned on. Dang it. So you can see just by holding shift, I'm kind of doing the same smooth thing. Kind of like we do with our meshes, and it works on the groom, on the brushes, on the fiber mesh as well. But then we can also again use these really cool things, like we can toss the hair. And come in here and we can groom spin knot the hair. There we go. That is fantastic. And that's how I think I'm going to have to style my beard from now on. That's perfect. And we better do it up here. There we go. Perfect. Okay. So, let's say you then want to go back and add hair somewhere else, like you want to do the top of his head or something like that. All you do is go back to that subtool that is the head. Make sure you don't have any masks, so I just control drag to make sure to clear all the masks. And then let's say we're going to give him eyebrows, right? So I'm going to go ahead and hit S, make that a little smaller, mask that in, there we go. And then again, I'll go to my fiber mesh and I will preview it. And that's perfect. Look at that. That is fantastic. Couldn't have asked for anything better. So obviously we want to change the length on this one. Maybe that's still too much. Let's do 25. Let's do 20. There we go. There we go right there. Okay, so that kind of puts his hair there for us. Looking good. Gravity is fine. We don't need to mess with gravity too much on these things because they're not very long. And we'll just go ahead and make these colors really weird. So we'll give him green eyebrows. That is awful. We will not do that. Okay. We will leave it as red, and then all I'm going to do is click on accept. Yes. And then if I come up here to the subtool, I then can go ahead and click. And I now have the hair, the eyebrows, and the beard, and then of course the eyes. So if I go to the eyebrows now, I can go ahead and spin knot those. There's not enough hair to really spin knot, but you can use your grooming brushes on them just the same. And that looks pretty good. Groom hair long, same thing. And there we go. So that's kind of a little bit on Fibermesh. Pretty simple to do, pretty easy to do. And I really just want you to mess with hair and kind of develop hair on a character's head. And let me show you like how we would do it on like a dog. So if I click on the dog, so there's the dog right there. A couple things, I'm just going to go ahead and hold Control and drag to go ahead and give me that whole thing selected. And then what I need to do is I need to turn on symmetry. And I'm going to hold Control Alt, which will actually get rid of the mask. And I'm going to go ahead and do that on his eyes and his nose, because we don't want him to have hair like in his eyes and nose. That would be weird. Alright, so then I'll just go down to Fibermesh and Preview. This one's going to need a lot more hair, so I'm going to do 500. There we go. My length, I'm going to go ahead and make it 0, so there's no variation in that length. Now it kind of looks like a sheep. So let me turn on that gravity, and that should clear that up. There we go. And then of course we'll want to come in here with our groom brushes and our smooth brushes to actually kind of clean this off and make it look good. So I'm going to go ahead and just accept, so we can leave it like this for right now. There we go. And now what I can do, I can come in here, and this is just smoothing. Not using my brushes. That looks like a sheep. Okay, and then of course we can come back in here and use our cool like groom toss, and it just kind of pulls the hair out. Groom hair long. I didn't have symmetry on, so it's going to be a little bit messed up. Yeah, and when you're grooming hair, you got to be careful, because you can end up pushing it right through the mesh. Okay, that's it for Fibermesh. Pretty easy to do, pretty fun. I really just want you to mess around with it and have a good time. Fibermesh takes a really, really long time to get used to and get good at, and that was why we're going to be having an advanced ZBrush class. Not in the spring semester, but hopefully in the fall semester. So there you go. Have